Morning, everyone. All right, Titus chapter 3. It's going to be an interesting one. This is Paul writing to Titus, trying to give him a little bit of pastoral counseling, a little bit of help, a little bit of ingenuity on how to run his. Remember, he wrote to Timothy and did the same thing. If you look at it, he starts with him in chapter 1 and he goes, these are some things you should be doing. These are some qualifications your leader should have. Then he goes to 2. It says, teach them. This is what the old men are supposed to be doing. Teach them what the young men are supposed to be doing. Teach what the old ladies are supposed to be doing. Teach what the... Then he goes into, now this is how we should interact as believers with authority. And it was interesting. I was watching a guy the other night, brought out a couple points I never really thought of. He said there's really 2 things in chapter 3. It says how we interact with authority and how we should, as Christians, be interacting with authority we don't agree with. The good works part of it, which is fascinating to me. He really stuck into that. So I don't know where the Holy Spirit's going to get me sticking. But we're going to go and see what happens. It was pretty interesting about what he was saying. So I got amplified. I don't see too many brackets, but I'm sure I got words here that you don't have. So, chapter 3, verse 1. Remind people to be subject to rulers and authorities, to be obedient, to be ready, and willing to do good work. Well, there's a little bit there. So, Titus, you as the pastor of the congregation, remind your people to be subject to the rulers and the authorities, to be obedient to them, to be ready and willing to do good work. And I'm like, I don't like that. He's telling us, whether you agree with the leader, he's talking, we're going to lean politically for a second. Whether you agree with the political empowerment that's happening at any moment, who's in charge at any moment, this is what he's telling us to do. And imagine if society grasped this, if Christians grasped this, if some of the heat that's going on around the country wouldn't be as heated. But he's saying, be subject to them. And of course, he's not telling us to do anything that would be against God. He's not telling us we can't speak out. But what he's saying is, in a godly manner, when you take the whole totality of verse 1, find a minuscule piece of common ground that you can do good work together in.
He also says in the next verse to slander no one.
Yeah.
And you know, part of our political disobedience sometimes does involve slandering the party that's in power if it's not the party we agree with. You know,
exactly.
That's and part of the curse of a participatory democracy that we have is we have responsibility to speak up and speak out, but we have a responsibility to know where that ends.
The line, yes.
And so in a totalitarian regime, at least. You don't have those. You don't have to worry about that
because you know you ain't saying nothing.
So yeah, the joke about the guy that asks his buddy who's now in North Korea, how are you doing? And the guy says, I can't complain.
I can't complain. Yeah, and that's true. But you think about it. A lot of the craziness, you can picture any of the craziness that's going on even today. How many times is what that person's saying and what this person's saying, somewhere in the middle, there's a little bit of common ground that they could work on and try to accomplish something. But this person's going, you're an idiot. This person's going, no, you're the idiot. And this person's going, you're evil. And no, this person's going, why you keep calling me evil? And it's like, and they're just butting heads and getting nothing done except fighting. And then it becomes team warfare. Because they're getting trained to go, if it has that letter, they're evil. If it has that letter, they're always right, and it becomes an always and forever. But that's not how God works. God is like, there's common ground everywhere. And we know from politics,